So I had a few really mean questions here, but you're a giant human being, so I'm actually gonna, let me just delete a couple of these here. Nothing about the haircut. Don't mention he doesn't look old enough to vote. Okay, here we go. You're currently serving in the armed forces, is that correct?
I am, yes sir.
You were also a part of Operation Iraqi Freedom?
I was. Yes,
and you trained Iraqi troops in Mosul?
I did. Mosul,
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were assigned to the police transition team mission. So I was a company commander at that time, and we were in Mosul, the Rabia border crossing with Syria, Sinjar. So we worked with Iraqi police forces across Mosul. I was in charge of all on the eastern side, and for the majority of the western side, the actual police stations there. Later we moved out to Sinjar. And spent some time out there as well. And really our role was to augment the infantry to help train up the Iraqi police and basic law enforcement functions, but also to repel terror attacks, things of that nature. So we did everything from making sure they had water to training them on police tactics to going on operations with them.
Wow.
To ensuring that the sewage and some of the basic city functions were working. So we interacted with some of the other transition teams as well, some of the civil affairs. Incredible mission. Learned so much about the culture.
Yeah.
So much about the daily life. You had many Christians there. You had Sunni Muslims. It was mostly in that area is mostly Sunni. Very few Shia. You have ethnically you have it's a big fault line. Mosul or Nineveh, the province of Nineveh, is a fault line with the Kurds, and with the Arabs. You have the Yazidi population, which is a different religious makeup, further to the west in the Sinjar area, which is a sacred, holy place for them. So you have a lot of different, the Turkmen are there as well, who are descendants of different Turks from the Ottoman Empire.
Right, so you're in the middle of a lot of different cultural experiences.
Absolutely, It's an incredible melting pot. It's a great opportunity to understand different culture, to help people work together, and to really help people understand a mission and work towards that. People are coming from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different agendas, and really get on the same page. Having clean water and enough ammunition to do your job and save lives is, really doesn't matter whether you're a Kurd or an Arab or a Turkmen or...
Right, you're a human at that point.
Right.
Yeah. What's one big thing that you took away from your experience over there?
Well, I think leadership. I think making tough decisions. Every day you're faced with making life and death decisions. You have to assess information quickly. You have to be on your toes. These are not popular decisions. Not everyone agrees with every call you make, but at the end of the day, you got to get the mission done. You identify what that is strategically, your 50-meter, 100-meter, 300-meter target, and you work towards that. So I think it molds you as a leader. I think the military provides some of the best leadership schools, practical leadership that you can get. You have the responsibility for men and women under your command. If they get killed, you got to write home to their families. You got to live with that. You got to take that with you. You have to think outside the box. It's not the military is not just taking orders and moving on. You're
it's
part of the process.
It's not a cut and dry thing.
Right.
Yeah, every day is different. I would have to imagine.
Absolutely, with this new set of challenges.
Yeah.
Some challenges transcend the whole experience. Some are new every day. So
now, speaking of challenges. A lot of veterans, when they come back from combat, not all of them feel like they get the care that they deserve. With your unique experience in the military, do you think we're doing enough for our veterans here in St. Johns County when they return, or is there more that we could be doing, in your opinion?
There is.
Your opinion there?
There's definitely more we can be doing. It's not from a lack of effort. It's not from a lack of desire. It's a lack of resources and really strategic vision. A lot of its echelons much higher than ours. A lot of efforts to help veterans really it gets stovepiped or stagnated at the VA level.
Yeah.
They've been trying to open a VA center for 8 years now, if not longer.
Yeah.
There are a lot of challenges with that. There's just an article in the paper about the VA facility. Really, your full service VA facility is in Gainesville. So if for certain treatments, types of medical care, you really have to go to Gainesville.
That's the closest place for people around here, huh? Wow.
Right, and being it's co-located with the University of Florida on Shands, and there's a lot of advantages to that. But there are also disadvantages to that. And I think what you're seeing is a veteran population that transcends age. You have, the greatest generation, World War II veterans. You have Korea, Vietnam, all the way down to, men and women much younger than me that are still engaged in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other contingency operations. Each conflict has a different set of issues, but again, there are issues that transcend that. So I do think we can do more. I think at the county we can do more. I think some of the things we can do is continue to put pressure on the federal and state governments to provide opportunities to help veterans. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of grant money that we can continue to go after and just raise awareness. Many people are unaware that we have one of the largest veteran populations here. A lot of people are unaware of the opportunities and leadership that veterans can bring to it. Again, it's not a special class of people. It's not, they don't deserve special treatment. What they can do is engage in second service and help their community. And I think we can find ways of matching that. You have great organizations, K9 for Warriors, that does that. And it takes two things that most people are going to love, dogs and veterans.
Sure.
And it gives you an opportunity to help both. So that's something my wife and I have been involved in volunteering, and we need more organizations like that, more awareness.
Now, I read on your website that you have a family first agenda. Now that sounds good.
Sure.
What does that mean to you?
Well, we need to start making decisions that when we vote on whether it's a road maintenance, or we vote on a budget issue, whether we vote on whether we're going to allow a variance to a zoning or a development coming here, we need to figure, is this going to help families in St. Johns County? Is this going to add to our culture here? Is this going to add to our quality of life here? Is this going to make it easier for families to be successful here? Because we want nice homes. We want people to be able to have a nice home and live here. We want people to be able to afford to live here. We want people to be able to...
That's a big challenge.
It is a big challenge.
In all of St. Johns County right now.
All of St. Johns County. In different parts of Florida, we're seeing that. We also want people to be able to shop here and do business here. We want to have those grocery stores and the Targets and things like that.
It all goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand. You shouldn't have to drive to Jacksonville or some other county to have those services. So I think we need to make decisions that is this vote that I'm taking today, is this decision that we're wrestling with, is this going to put families further in front, or is it going to put them further behind? And I think you have to start with that philosophical standpoint. It sounds great and it's a great concept, but what does that actually mean? Again, if I'm going to vote on this development, if I'm going to vote on this road, if I'm going to vote on how we're going to spread these funds out.
How is it impacting real people, real families?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be very grounded in that. I think you have to understand, I'm raising a young family here. The decisions that if I'm elected that I make now are going to affect my family for the next 10, 15 years, are going to affect your family.
Yep.
And the citizens here. So again, I think we need to put families first. That needs to be at the forefront of every decision that we make.
Now, you mentioned quality of life. That's been a big thing in this election. I think that's very important to residents of St. Johns County. I know closer to the city, I deal with a lot of people who, believe that tourism has a big effect on quality of life. What does quality of life mean to you? Because I've heard you mention quality of life a few times.
Well, it's the things that attract us and keep us here, right? So earlier off camera, you mentioned how you were, from St. Johns County and went to high school here. Well, there's a reason you're staying here. There's a quality of life reason that you're staying here, because you have a job here, you're raising, I'm assuming, a family here.
Unfortunately, he assumed wrong. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I was in a position to create a child. But I guess that's another convo.
Of life here. I can raise my kids in a safe environment. They can go to the best schools. We can worship at the church. Our church family. We have friends and family that live here. We need to, we're not dealing with an epic crime wave. We're able to afford to live here. So we need to keep that. We need to keep it affordable for people to live here with young families. We need to keep it affordable for people with fixed incomes, retirees. My mother retired here to St. Johns County when my dad passed away. I want her to be able to live here for the rest of her life and enjoy living here and enjoy the parks, the recreation, being able to take a nature walk. That's important. We have tremendous green space here in St. Johns County. And we need to make sure that we continue to improve on that. We have one of the top 15 ecosystems with iguana preserve. So we want to preserve that and keep that in place. So when I say quality of life, it's all encompassing and it's holistic. It's the safety and security of living here. It's the great educational opportunities. It's opportunity to work and earn a living here in this region. And also the ability to have a nice place to raise your kids in a nice home environment.
Yeah. Now, erosion is something that's big in the district that you're looking to represent along coastal areas. There's been some issues with, the beach and the houses close to the beach. Are you running into a lot of concern about that from people that you're talking to? Do you have any solutions on the table? I mean, what in your mind has to happen as far as the beaches? Well,
the beach erosion issue is an issue that's affecting all of Florida right now. We're not the first coastal county in Florida that's dealing with that. We have other areas of Florida that deal with it at a much higher level than we do. What's unique to us is we have not had a great beach management program. In fact, we have none. We don't have a beach management program that goes through our public works or different other departments in the county. We need a beach management program, if you will, or a department to really handle that. When you look at other areas like South Florida, and I've studied this issue. I have a advanced law degree in land use and planning. I've studied beach issues across the state. I've looked at what different counties and cities have done. We need to, it's really a threefold issue. You have to get the state more involved because we can't put a grain of sand on the beach and renourish those beaches without state approval. And we need to get the federal government more involved. We need to beat the drum on that. Or you have other parts of the state where you can't maintain or be an elected official without hardcore advocacy for the beaches, because people's livelihood and business are based on that. In Miami, you have a bad tropical storm, you're going to be flooding downtown Miami. Now we don't have the pull of South Florida, but we have to fight for those same dollars with the state government, the federal government. So we need to advocate and beat the drum on that. We need to increase awareness, but also we need to look at how we're doing our beach renourishment. Now, right when the hurricanes came through, they were right in the middle of a beach renourishment program. So a lot of the sand that was put on was washed away. So again, there are different outside the box ways to do that. You have different coastal engineers that have come up with different plans and options. There's a company, Olson Associates in Jacksonville, that has identified a great beach renourishment plan over a long term. And again, this is a multi-step process. Right. But it starts with getting the federal government more involved. We need to get the state government more involved. And we need to find a way that think outside the box with how we're doing the beach renourishment.
Now, what's a big issue in the county that you've noticed over the last couple of years that you think they could be doing better on?
We need to balance our growth. We need to diversify our growth. We need to attract more small businesses and more mid-sized businesses to St. Johns County. That's going to be a major challenge going forward. Looking at a small business owner who wants to open a restaurant, who wants to open a lawn care company, who wants to open, a child care service to babysit. There's some challenges in place to that. We need to make St. Johns County a friendly place for mom and pops to open a business and to encourage that. We need to identify companies that do things the right way, companies that have respect for the environment, companies that are improving on our quality of life, companies that are adding to our character. We need to identify those companies and we need to encourage them to come here. We're competing with counties all around us, all over Northeast Florida for jobs, for companies to come here. We don't want to just be a bedroom community to Jacksonville. If we continue growing the way we are without out of balance growth, where we have a significant it's over 80%, approaching 90% on the residential, where it's much lower, about 13% on the commercial. That's not sustainable. Yeah. So we have to, commercial growth is going to add more tax dollars, and we still want people to move here. You're not going to shut down St. Johns County and no one ever move here again. You can't advertise this as being a wonderful place to live and the top schools in the state and be shocked that people want to move here. Right. But you have to balance it out. You have to be realistic, and you have to look at the growth and say, hey, is this growth the best part for this county? And you have to identify strategic vision. We have no strategic vision for St. Johns County. We have a future land use map, we have a comprehensive land use plan, and we have a land use code that frankly is out of date. So we need to look at how to tie all that together, identify a strategic vision for where we want to grow, how we want to grow, and what that growth wants to look like. And then go on and attract that type of growth. If we want more mid-sized companies that are going to work out of office buildings and add to certain service sectors, and we need to go out there and attract that growth. Again, St. Johns County is not a hard sell. People want to move here. Yeah. But you got to make sure we balance out that growth, and you do it in a way that's lawful and legal within the law. Yeah.
Now we talk a little bit about growth. We talked a little bit off camera about a recent article about growth in St. Johns County, a little bit about developers and developers' contributions into the campaign. I know it was recently mentioned in a Record article that you had received about $30,000 from developers. That's about half of what Dick Williams had received. Do you owe people any favors when you get into office, when they give you $30,000?
No, absolutely not. I'm proud of the contributions I've gotten. I've gotten more contributions from combat veterans, and what the article didn't point out was all the combat veterans, people still serving in the military, law enforcement officers, prosecutors I've served with, people are still putting bad guys behind that have contributed. So I've had over 100, close to 150 combat veterans, men and women I've served with in Iraq, Afghanistan, different parts of the world that have contributed to my campaign. But I think what's important is we need good development in St. Johns County. We don't need out of control development. We don't need unrestrained development. We need good balanced development.
Responsible development.
Responsible development. So if there are developers that want to do business in St. Johns County, that want to build the right type of homes for people, that want to put some commercial growth in, that's going to help add to our quality of life, that's going to add to to our ability to do that in a way where it's not clogging roads and not overgrowing the county, then I'm in favor of that. I'm not an anti-growth candidate. I think you have to have balanced, reasonable, managed growth. So yes, I have gotten contributions from businesses that are putting building great homes for people to live in here and adding to our quality of life. That doesn't mean that I owe them anything. I'm going to make decisions about what's best for families. If a development is not best for families, or it's going to add more traffic to a particular road where it's unattainable, where it takes 2 hours to get your kids to school and back, then I'm not in favor of that. You have to be reasonable, you have to be managed, and you have to have a strategic plan. And we want developers that fit within that strategic plan.
One more question, I guess. What is something that everybody needs to know about Jeremiah Blocker?
Well, I think one of the things that I'd like to share is how blessed I am to have an incredible family. I have a wonderful wife who's my rock, Lauren. She's a full-time mom. She's also a full-time professional woman. So she works full-time and takes care of my wonderful kids. And, this is really what it's about. It's about those kids. I want them to be able to have the youth soccer. I want them to be able to play and have a great experience here. And I invested in that. That's for the reason I'm doing this. I've never run for office before. I'm not interested and building some political career here. I want them to have the best opportunity going forward. My parents work hard to create that opportunity for me, and I owe that to my kids. I owe it to your kids and everyone else that's listening here, to their children as well. Our kids going forward have to be protected. We have to put the resources, and so we have the firefighters and the police and everything in place. This remains a safe place. Our schools are number one. We got to work hard to maintain that, because that doesn't come with sitting back and drinking tea. We got to work hard on that, and we got to make sure that this is a place they want to come back to and raise kids. So it's not just about us living here. It's about my grandkids one day coming back here and wanting to live here, wanting to start families here and start a career here.